Am I the asshole for quitting my job for my health, after it changed its drop policy? I work at my school's Starbucks. I've worked there since the school year started. I like my co-workers, and one of the draws to the job was that they were willing to work around your school schedule, since most of the baristas were full-time students. I make $11 per hour no tip. If we accept tips we get fired. I was told the max amount we get scheduled for is 20 hours a week, but I regularly get scheduled 26+ hours regardless. The boss ignores when I say I'm unavailable and schedules me when I have class anyways. Recently I got very sick. Like, bedridden for days, can't sleep due to constant pain, lose your voice because your throat is so fucked up type sick. Usually I'm a fast healer and recover from illnesses within 3–5 days, but not this time. I've been sick for over a week, which is highly unusual. Because I work in the food service industry and don't want to make customers or coworkers sick, I called in for a few days. At one point I felt guilty for calling in so much, and decided to force myself into work. Bad idea. I collapsed 4 times at work and had a complete breakdown out of exhaustion. I went to the hospital the next day. Then my manager tells me I can't come back to work until I get a doctor's note, so I go to the doctor, who writes a note excusing me till Thursday. It's Tuesday while I'm writing this. Today I woke up to a message from the boss saying they've deleted the ability to drop shifts, that people are not allowed to miss work unless there's someone able to cover your shift regardless of your excuse, and that you have to put in your availability in a full 30 days before, as opposed to the previous 14 days notice for availability. Got pneumonia? Well, unless you have someone covering for you, ya gotta go in. Family member died? Tough shit. The boss is already known for not being understanding and even ignoring discrimination reports, which isn't cool. For me, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. I had already considered quitting because the job was extremely stressful, but for a job that claims to be flexible, this is bullshit. I am not going to plan my life around a job that doesn't even pay minimum wage in some states. And even with my doctor's note, I have a feeling they'll try to make me go in anyways. This is not a survival job for me. I only took this job for pocket money. People have been dropping from this job like flies, and while I know me leaving will leave them a bit understaffed, it's not my fault the job is so shit that people are quitting. This job has been taxing my emotional and physical health, plus it's been difficult staying on top of my classes with this awful job. I talked with friends and they agree it's a valid reason to quit, but I'd like to hear what Reddit thinks. Am I the asshole for quitting this job for my health, sanity, and because of the bullshit drop policy? Edit. I appreciate the support. Unfortunately, reporting my boss will be difficult, since she works for HR as well. The Starbucks I work for is a department of the school store. The Starbucks manager is great, but the boss runs the whole school store and is in charge of scheduling. The boss made the drop change, not the Starbucks manager. Pretty much all of my coworkers hate the boss. I'm terrified of making a fuss, but if there is a way to report the boss to HR without her interfering, I might do that. Also edited for format, spelling. Not the asshole. I'd also report them to the school if they're treating students like this. They might decide to change franchise if they don't stop. Also check with whatever is your equivalent to a health authority. Forcing sick workers to come in is usually a big no-no for food service, even when you haven't had COVID to worry about. Not the asshole. Not a lawyer by any means, but this seems like it's probably illegal or at the least unethical. Good for you. Not the asshole. What the fuck, I'd contact Starbucks ethics office or contact regional headquarters about this. Worst case, lawyer up. This is highly unethical. Not the asshole. I would think that this store has a contract with the school. Maybe report them for employment violations, since they are denying sick time, etc. Not the asshole. Never feel bad about quitting a job. You owe your employer nothing, especially a shitty one. They pay you for a service you provide, that's it. Not the asshole. Let me be real clear on this: there is no time that you are in a hole for leaving employment simply if the employer wants you to stay. Full stop. Not the asshole. Take care of yourself first. Also, I just learned American schools have Starbucks? Not the asshole. Quitting a job never means you're an asshole. Doesn't matter your reason. Am I the asshole for being angry at my mill for not giving us money for our house purchase? Disclaimer. Using a throwaway for this post as family use Reddit. My husband and I had our first baby last year during COVID. Prior to this, we went into no contact with his parents as his mother is a narcissist, and the last straw for us was her acting up at our wedding and embarrassing us. We had no contact with her for 2 years, and in the last year or so before our baby was born, they finally reached out to my husband and he went back into low contact with them, had lunch with them like once every few months. They were on their best behavior during those times. After our baby was born, we let them meet him when he was around 3 months. All this time they were super kind to me and the baby, and I really thought us going no contact with them had maybe improved our relationship. Cut to the start of this year, we have always been renting. We cannot afford to buy a house comfortably currently with the crazy rising house prices, so we have never thought about it. Husband's parents are very rich, they helped his brother and his family with their home, and now we had a baby, they offered to help chip in so we could finally get a permanent place. Initially I didn't know if we should accept such a big gift from them, but they persuaded us to provide a more stable home for the baby, so we thankfully agreed. They promised to give us $80,000 towards our purchase. The country I am in, our median house price is over $1 million. With this gift, we could literally just afford the mortgage with our wages, and everything would be pretty tight, but we could manage it. We signed for a house which was a new build, so would take a few months to finish. We are now at the stage of nearly finishing and would be settling the property in a month or so. My husband let his parents know that we would need their $80,000 transferred to us soon for us to pay off the remaining balance in around 3 weeks' time. Mill refused to pay. She said she's changed her mind and she thinks it's better to save that money for retirement, even though we all know she has 10x that in the bank. We are beyond devastated because we have borrowed to the limit and we cannot borrow an extra $80,000, and we only put down a payment for a house because of their gift. She has now asked us to ask my family for it, but my parents just can't help with such a big amount and had already gifted some towards our deposit. I know we are not owed any money from family, but I feel like I'm not the asshole here because we didn't ask for the money, it was offered, and we only bought a house because of the help offered. We were happy to continue to rent until we saved up more money. However, some of my friends are calling me entitled and selfish for expecting a handout. I am really upset because I feel like we were tricked into buying a house and then left in a lurch. I don't know if this was her plan to string us along and give us hope then take it from us. Edit. Thanks to all for the advice regarding our legal rights. My husband and I don't really want to go down the route with bringing a claim against her, as at the end of the day it is her money and if she does not wish to gift it, we have no right to it. But we will ask our lawyer to look into it for breaking our contract for the purchase. Hopefully we are able to. Not the asshole. Y'all know they are narcissistic, so why would you lay such a heavy gamble on them? Seems like revenge on their part for the no contact. There is no such thing as a well-behaved narcissist, just a well-masked one. I'm sorry y'all are dealing with this. I'd say bringing toxic people into your lives again, so you can expose your baby to it, was a bad call. They don't deserve to poison that kid's life. I once upon a time did the same, so I can understand the want to have the kid's entire family involved, but it's a misguided thought that does not help anyone grow. Showing proper boundaries will help them and you grow 10,000% more. Not the asshole, and you need to re-examine your friends. You're not expecting a handout. You're expecting the gift that was offered and you made life decisions based on. Mill needs cutting off again, permanently. Not the asshole, and there's a lesson here for your kid. Always get paid up front for things like this. It's possible she did that on purpose just to mess with y'all. Time to go no contact again. Edit for grammar. Thank to the comment under here LMAO. Not the asshole. First of all, I really wish you the best of luck in sorting out this financial disaster. It won't be easy and it certainly will hurt. Worst case, you will be losing your deposit for the home, which is generally a pretty large chunk of change. I think the silver lining is you now know exactly where your in-laws stand. This isn't just hurt feelings and petty words anymore. This is significant financial damage you a pair of new parents. IMHO zero contact is too light of a retaliation for this fiasco. Something's missing here. If the $80,000 was for a down payment, how did you not get it up front? I would have never moved forward with the purchase without that initial money. Your Mill for telling you she'd give you the money and then going back on her word. You for being so stupid. How on earth did you actually think that taking money from those people would be a good idea? You don't take money from people you were NC and then LC. I could have told you that would happen. If you really wanted that money, you should have made an official deal with paperwork and lawyer. By not doing that, you screwed yourself. Not the asshole. They didn't owe you any money in the first place, but promising you that money only to change her mind put you in a really terrible position, and you have every right to be upset about it. Not the asshole you didn't expect a handout. You accepted an offer of help. Unfortunately, the offer wasn't genuine and now you're in a bind. It's the same as if someone offered you a ride to an important event and then never showed up. No one would call you an off for being mad at them if that happened, and they shouldn't be mad now. Go back to no contact. Even if they end up giving you the money, say thank you and then never contact them again. Am I the asshole for asking my wife to cook? I am not a bad cook by any definition, but my wife is a much better cook than I. We've divided household chores in a way that I do most of the cooking and she does most of the cleaning, laundry, dusting. I do these chores sometimes, and she cooks sometimes. We're both working from home full-time and work Monday-Friday from 9:6.30. When we were working from the office, we would eat our lunches at work and sometimes grab dinner outside. For the past year and a half, we've been eating most of our weekday meals at home. She cooks once or twice a week at max, but when she does, she makes really elaborate and delicious meals. She's South Asian and knows how to use her spices well. So yesterday, she cooked us a delicious Indian meal for dinner. I complimented her on her amazing cooking. She replied that she cooks whenever she's fed up of eating my bland food. I don't know how to use spices, but my food is decently edible. Just not up to her standards. I buy pasta sauce from the store, while she makes the sauce at home from scratch. But I agreed that she was a far superior cook and suggested that she cook more often. I offered to take up most of the cleaning responsibilities. In effect, I suggested that we swap responsibilities. That way we would both be eating better food during the week. She was very angry upon hearing this and accused me of being a typical male chauvinist and patriarchal for asking her to cook more often just because she is the woman. When I pointed out that I could do more of the cleaning, her response was that I would do a half-ass job and it wouldn't be up to her standards anyway. So she would have to redo all the cleaning, in addition to cooking. She thinks I'm an asshole for suggesting that she cook, instead of learning how to cook better. She likes her spices, slow cooked over hours, while I am more of a quick pasta, salad and some oven roasted meat guy. Doesn't take me more than an hour on average to whip up dinner from start to finish. I can try to cook better, but she's still going to be the better cook. I don't see what I said wrong. So am I the asshole? Update. I spoke to her and she apologized for calling me a male chauvinist. She agreed that the comment was unwarranted because she knew I didn't mean it that way. She also explained what ticked her off. She wants me to take more of the mental load on the cooking because she takes the mental load on cleaning and other chores. She said swapping was not the solution because we already had a system in place. She doesn't think I'm a bad cook. She just wants me to put more thought into what I make. I don't mind eating the same kind of food every day for lunch, but she does. And sometimes I cook too much for just the two of us and we're left finishing up leftovers over the next few meals. She hates that. I asked her to teach me how to cook new dishes with spices and she agreed, but on one condition: that I would decide on the dish, do the grocery shopping and have the ingredients ready. She's okay to do the labor. She doesn't want the mental load. Sounds fair. Thanks for all your comments. Ask her to teach you, dude. Problem solved. No judgment, but I think you need to learn to cook better food if she's calling it bland. Or you could just use some spice, my guy, take cooking classes, stuff like that. Is she right about the chores? Heavy bias here, but I swear my husband purposely messes things up that I've asked him to do so that he doesn't have to do them. If you decide to swap, take it seriously and ask her to show you how to do it and do it. Otherwise, worst case scenario, you go back to your status quo where you have her special food a couple nights a week, and the rarity of it also probably makes it more special than you realize now. If you think she cooks better, cook with her and learn how to use spices. Take a cooking class. Buy a cookbook. You're capable of learning how to cook more delicious foods. I think everyone sucks here because you approached this from completely the wrong angle. And she really didn't hear you out. There has to be a compromise. Plus, when you've cleaned, has she had to go behind you and clean again? Is that a valid fear that she has? I think there's plenty of room for compromise in this. Maybe a couple of days of her cooking, and you take over bathroom cleaning duty. There are options that you and the wife need to discuss once you're both calmed down and ready to listen to each other. Not the asshole. You suggested a swap because she's better at a certain thing. Nothing wrong with that. She didn't need to insult you either. I do all the cooking because I'm just better at it than my husband, and since we both love food, it makes sense to eat good food we both enjoy. Not the asshole. She insulted your cooking and so you gave her the chance to cook more. I don't see how that makes you the bad guy. You even offered to take up more work in other areas of the house to make things even. Not the asshole, the you are the asshole comments are ridiculous. Putting aside that you offered, not demanded, to swap responsibilities rather than just have her cook, she insulted your cooking. If a man had told his wife that he only cooks when he gets tired of her bland food, this sub would tear them apart. Am I the asshole over an engagement ring? Boyfriend, 35M, asks about ring styles and I, 30F, show him simple bands on Etsy. He is disappointed because he is traditional and wants a diamond. I tell him that I would be happy if he proposed with a twist tie, and while I appreciate the significance of diamonds for some, it is not something that I care for and would rather invest the money into our future. After researching, he insists on 1-2 carats. I am indifferent and reaffirm that we could use the money for a lot more. He tells me that my reaction is disappointing and perceives it to mean that 1-2 carats is not enough. I tell him that I already love him and diamonds don't change that. He starts pushing the idea that diamonds an investment. Having worked in high-end jewelry stores, I know this is not always the case. So I offer a compromise. Lab stones or moissanite. He thinks they are not real, but eventually agrees to a lab diamond. In passing he asks, under what conditions would you want to have a really expensive diamond ring? I respond something like, if we were billionaires with endless money to spend, fine. Buy a $60K ring. I now realize it was insensitive and have since apologized. But I didn't think much of it in the moment. What I really meant to say was, buy a diamond if the money spent had no impact on us. He reaches out to my friends and one mentions my last ring. With his newfound knowledge, he realizes that the ex probably spent $50 $60K. Understandably, this creates insecurity for my BF. Note: my ex turned out to be the human equivalent of toe fungus. I gladly gave that ring back despite his insistence that I keep it. My boyfriend already knows this, as good friends should. A few call me out. They are under the impression that I demanded an expensive ring. But I clear the air and all is well. My future mill and sill, they make comments like, $60,000 for a ring is unreasonable, and at least the heirloom ring isn't a fake diamond, and overall act very cold to me, which causes tensions. Turns out that my passing comment about $60,000, my old engagement ring and preference for no diamond has led some misunderstandings. Boyfriend admits to telling people, she wants a ring worth $60,000 or a twist tie, or, since I can't spend $60,000, she told me to get a fake diamond. He also admits that his mother has been pushing the heirloom ring and only stopped when he said, she doesn't like it, despite the fact I didn't know about it. Turns out he doesn't like it and does not want to redesign it since it was his grandmother's only possession after the Holocaust. Our lives are completely combined, financially, and we usually speak openly about money. But in an attempt to surprise me with a proposal, he doesn't tell me about his ring woes, and this caused huge gaps with our communication. While I am frustrated that he misunderstood my comments, he is frustrated with my demands, and a lot of people are agreeing with him, and I am getting a lot of heat from his friends, family. So Reddit. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. He needs to get over the asshole that came before him. He needs to stop trying to put his wants over yours over this ring. He needs to communicate. Your friends and family need to get out from between you and him. He is the problem here for the most part, unless you think you are being clear, but you aren't being clear. Not the asshole, he's twisting your words and being negative about what you actually want. You need to sit him down and hash this out. What does he think you're demanding? The way it reads, you want a non-diamond ring that's affordable. That's so easily done. He needs to stop putting so much weight on how much it costs or how big the stone is. It sounds like a lot of it is insecurity regarding your ex's ability to spend a crazy amount. It's ridiculous. Not the asshole. Are you okay going through with this wedding? He lied to friends and family about you. He made you look greedy and selfish in order to promote some weird diamond fetish he has. Is he going to do this all the time? Damage your relationships with your friends and his family by blaming you for things he's doing? This is not a good way to start a marriage. Not the asshole. In the end, his insecurities aren't your fault. Diamonds are absolutely not an investment. They're overpriced shiny junk, and if you don't want one, you shouldn't have to wear one. Info. Is it possible he is purposely misunderstanding and or making this more complicated than it needs to be because he doesn't want to get married, or there's something keeping him from being sure about getting married? Because honestly, I don't understand any of this or why it's such a big deal. If you told him what you say you told him, everything he said since seems pointless unless it's just an excuse to put off buying it. Not the asshole, but you could have given him a little more to go on. It sounds like he was excited to propose but is dealing with some insecurity and you brushed it off as NBD, which he probably interpreted as you've done this before with a huge ring, so anything he does isn't going to be comparable. I say not the asshole though because he dragged his family and your friends into it, and now you're being made the bad guy when this was very private and a communication breakdown, not you pitching a hissy fit. I would suggest couples counseling to deal with his jealousy, insecurity and how you respond to his feelings in the moment. And don't get engaged until you're over this hump. Not the asshole. At the end of it, all you really said was I don't care about the ring or how expensive it is, I'm already in love with you. I don't know if he just started feeling insecure because your last ring or whatever it may be, but he clearly just got upset and conflated things when ranting. It's weird he never told you about the heirloom. He's being irrational, to be honest. No, not the asshole. He is both a, not listening to you, and b, sharing your personal, private disagreement with friends and family. Boundaries are being crossed here, and he is refusing to listen to you because he doesn't like your answers. You don't want the damn diamond. Period. Not 1 carat, not 2 carats, not anything. He needs to have some respect and let you wear what you want to wear. That's what actual love and respect looks like. Frankly, engagement rings are a pretty outdated concept. They're not for everyone. If you don't want one, he needs to work on himself until he can be at peace with that.